We call the LBGT club, which back in high school, but we never talked about that, you know. So we have support groups like what is it, zone? Safe zone. Safe zone, where somebody who is struggling as a student about their sexuality, they have a safe place to come to talk about it with faculty or staff, where it's non-judgmental, it's open. It's a non-issue. It really is, in the end, a non-issue. Students today don't care about what people's sexual orientations are. They just don't care. So it certainly is different. Very warm and welcoming. In fact, we have many heterosexual students involved with the LBGT group, which is great. They enjoy the different projects that group does and the philanthropic things they do in the community. And I think it's wonderful. It really shows unification between two groups of people that really shouldn't even be an issue to begin with. But it's good to see that they're together working in a club.
I'll say the same at the high school level. It's a non-issue. Like if you want to debate with a teenager right now about marriage equality, it's a very short conversation because they just don't understand why this is an issue. And I think part of it is that so many of them have friends who have two moms or two dads. They know, because people are more comfortable coming out now, they know gay people. 25 years ago, when I first started in the field of education, I couldn't talk about it, right? It wasn't okay, it was very taboo. And yet, over the years, and through the magic of Facebook and you know, this connectedness that has created with your past and people that have been in your past, the number of my students, my former students, who really have embraced both of us and are just so kind and so genuine. And as I have conversations with them, they all knew I was gay. They didn't care. They said, you were a great teacher, you mentored us, you gave us good advice. We knew that we were safe in your classroom. Same when I was a principal. And I have found over the years that if I have some regrets over my career, it's that I wasn't more out, because there were so many students that I could have helped who were struggling with the same issues. And it's not even, you know, teenagers struggle with a lot of things. It's not just sexual orientation. They struggle with drugs, they struggle with, you know, friends, alcohol, eating disorders, so many things, that the more open we can be as adults, within reason. I think there's boundaries. We don't share every little detail about our lives, but I think it helps them to understand that we as adults, we also struggle. We still have things that we're working on and we're trying to get better at. I think people need to talk to people and be respectful and be open. And whatever your personal belief on this is, and whether that's based in a faith tradition, religion, whatever it happens to be, that there's room for it all. And I think that's what's great about being in the United States, is that there is room for all of this. And it doesn't diminish your belief system. It doesn't diminish anything that you believe marriage to be, for example. But I think it does say that just because I believe a certain thing doesn't mean I get to discriminate against somebody else. But I think we're beginning to see that in this issue in particular, the country is moving very quickly, much more quickly than I could have ever imagined. When I first came out in my early 20s, this day was never on my radar. I just didn't think this would ever happen. And now to feel like we're on the brink of it. And when it goes in August to the Court of Appeals in Chicago with this joint case between Indiana and Wisconsin and in the Court of Appeals, it's going to end up in the Supreme Court very quickly. And I think the decision is going to be made within the next, I would say, 18 to 24 months. And again, 15 years from now, people are going to look back, especially this younger generation, and they're going to say how ridiculous that you had to fight that. No different than how I look at the civil rights movement, the women's rights movement. Why do we even have to have that conversation?
It's a human right in the end, correct? I mean, it just is. And just we also talk about just the resources that are just wasted and trying to fight something that's just, I mean, it's coming, it's here. So.
I think there's all kinds of support groups around it. Rick mentioned the group at his school. They would certainly be open to people supporting that.
Sure.
We have that in my school as well. I think we call it Spectrum. Sometimes it's called Prism. I think there are all kinds of organizations. PFLAG is certainly one.
Parents
and Friends of Lesbian and Gays.
Hoosiers for Marriage is
Right.
an up and budding organization right now, so it's, I think, HoosiersForMarriage.org. So that's a great resource as well to learn more about. And then what was the one that, Freedom to Marry?
Freedom to Marry.
FreedomToMarry.org is another organization.